All right, so we have another great opportunity to meet once again. So today we are going to continue from where we ended in our previous lesson, as we were solving some of the teachers' licensure examination July 2025. As I said earlier in our previous lesson, that there are some people yet to set their exams in October, and some will also sit DS in November. So we are going to go through some of these past questions. Okay, so my dear brothers and sisters who are yet to sit their licensure examination, kindly follow Masways TV. My name is Evans Okang. I'm still your mathematics facilitator. This is the only channel that you get all the mathematical concepts that you need to guide you. So kindly follow me on YouTube. You can also get Masways TV on TikTok. If you go to TikTok, go straight to my bio. The YouTube link is there. Kindly click on the link. It will take you to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Okay, so in our previous lesson, we solved the from question 1 up to question 11. Yes, we are able to solve 11 out of 30 questions. So today we are going to solve from question 12 up to question 20. Okay, and then the rest of the 10 questions we find some days also to look at them. We shall also be looking at the multiple choice questions, since the last session exam, this is the general professional knowledge, where we have the numeracy. We shall also be looking at the multiple choice one, especially the mathematics part. Since I'm a mathematics facilitator, I'm only dealing with the mathematics part. So kindly stay calm as I take you through the following questions. So let's look at our first question, which is the question 12. Okay, so for the question 12, we are saying that the following are the balance in Ghana cedis obtained from 9 teachers. Okay, 9 teachers mobile money account. The negative balance are in brackets. So it means that this is what a mobile money. There are times sometimes some people just borrow money, and you realize that if you go to your account is in the red. That means you don't have any money. So once you are owing, then your account will be showing negative. That's what we are trying to say. So those in the bracket you see are those accounts that are in the red. When you say in the red, you are in bankrupt. Okay, that means you don't have any amount in your Momo wallet. Okay, good. So these are the account numbers that we have. Now you see that we've circled the red circle on the 2 zeros. That suggests that as for these people, they are not owing, they don't also have money. So you will be able to differentiate this. Those that are in the bracket are those accounts that shows that they are owing. Okay, and the 2 zeros also show that as for these people, they are not owing, they don't also have any account. And the other last three, that is the 10, 20, and 19, also means that they have certain amounts in their account. So if you belongs to or which of these categories will you belong to? It's funny, isn't it? Yeah, very funny. So pray that you don't belong to those accounts where they are in the bracket. Okay, yes. Okay, now let's come back to let's go straight to the question. So we are saying that we should use the information to answer question 12 and 30. So in question 12, we are asking how many teachers do not owe in their mobile money account. So as I said, those in the bracket are the negative, and it suggests that those accounts are owing. So if you are not owing, then it's either your account is not a negative, your account is empty, or you have a positive number. So those that they are not owing, we can count. We have 2 people whose accounts are 0, so they are 1. And then we have what the thing. So if you circle that one, you realize that these are the particular people. Okay, we have the 10, we have 20, and then we have 90. These are the particular teachers who are not what owing. So how many are they? They are 5. That is great. Yes, so you see that the alpha, then what will be your answer? And that is what is going to be our A, that is the 5. So it means 5 of the teachers are not owing. Out of the 9, 5 teachers are not owing. All right, okay, now let's look at the question 13. So in the question 13, we are saying that which of the following statements is true about the balances in the teacher's mobile money account? So the A, we are saying that the teacher with the highest credit balance had what? 100 Ghana cedis. When you say highest, we know that a negative number is always lowest, because that 100 you see in the bracket suggests what? A negative once it is in bracket, because in the question it was stated that the negatives are in the what? Bracket. Okay, yeah, so if the negatives are in the bracket, and when you compare negatives and positive, always the positives are what? Bigger than the negative. So it doesn't matter how the positive number is smaller once the number is negative. So if you have negative 1 billion and somebody has 0, the person that has 0 is greater than you, because you are negative, so you don't have anything, you are still owing. Have you gotten that? So that one is not true, because the 100 is not the highest. Okay, now let's move on to the B. The B is also saying that 9 teachers altogether owe 80. Now we know that all the teachers are what? They are 9. So all together, meaning that if we take each of them, the account, if we try to add whatever they have, so account 100, the one owing 100, the one owing 50, the one owing 30, 20, 0, 0, 10, 20, and 90. Okay, if we add all of them together, are we going to get a negative 80? Because we are saying that. So let's try and see. Okay, so you realize that if you add all the accounts balance, you are going to get negative. And what does negative suggest? Negative suggests that they are owing. So it means that if the 9 teachers come together, they bring whatever, those who are owing and those who have money and those who do not have at all, if they all come together and bring the account together, they they will all be owing together. So as then the answer becomes what? The B. Okay, so that is the answer. Because if you look at the C part, for the C, we are saying that 9 teachers altogether owe what? 150. But when we added all of them, we realized that we didn't get 150. We got what? 80. So that one is not part. And we are also saying that the difference between the highest and the least. And if you look at the account balance, what is the highest? The highest was what? 90, because he has money. Okay, and he's the person is the only one that has highest amount in his account. The rest are what? Least. So if you try to subtract the find the difference, subtract the 100 which is already owing from the 90, there's no way you are going to get what? 10 Ghana cedis. So that one also suggests that that's not the answer. So our answer is the B. Okay, so this one is very simple. You just what? You just have to think. As I said, this looking at all these questions, it doesn't need any laborious computation, or doesn't need any serious or huge calculations. Okay, now let's move on to the question 14. So for question 14, we are saying that what name is given to the difference between the largest and the smallest values in data set. So this one we are dealing with what? Statistics, data set, range, mode, median, and mean. Now this one, when we say if you are finding what the difference, okay, the difference between the smallest and the largest, then we are talking about what? The range. Okay, we are talking about the range. So our answer is the range. Now let me give you examples, just in case in a question, if you are given a set of numbers or data set for you to find the range, how you do it. So let's say you are given this data set here. You are asked to find the range. How do you find the range? It's just a matter of what? Finding the difference of the largest and the smallest. And among these numbers, which one is the largest, which one is the smallest? So we know that 2 is our smallest, and then 15 is our largest. So you just find the difference of the two. Okay, And once you find a difference, you are good to go. Okay. Yes, so that is how it is done. Okay, you just find the difference of the two and you are good to go. So what's the difference? You just subtract 2 from 15 and you are going to get what? 13. So that is how you find the range. So it's very, very simple. Okay, so just in case if you meet something like that, you are given the tacit like this and asked to find the mean, that is what you do. You only identify the smallest and the largest, then you subtract the smallest from the largest. Whatever is left is your answer. Now let's look at the 15. So for the 15, you can see that which of the following algebraic expression is equivalent to the sum of 5 and a number x. So the sum, when we talk of sum, we are talking about addition. So we have 5 and we are going to add it to a certain number, which is s. So it's just a matter of 5 plus the x. Okay, that's it. That's the expression. Okay, so it is 5 plus x. But if you look at the options, you realize that we have 5x plus 5, which is out of uh, the answer. And then we also have 5x, which is not a super. We also have x plus 5x. No. So if you look at the d, you see that the d is the same as what we have here. Okay, it's just a matter of changing their positions. Okay, yes, you just change their positions and then you are good to go. Okay, that is it. And the answer is the d. Okay, so this one is very, very simple. You don't need any serious calculation before you be able to get this done. All right, now let's move on to the question 16. So for question 16, we are saying that which of the following is the set of whole numbers less than 5? So when we talk of whole numbers, what are whole numbers? We are talking about what? Positive integers, including what? 0. Positive integers, including zeros. Any number, any real number other than decimal or fraction, okay, including 0 is a whole number. So these numbers, are they less than 5? That's what you are talking about. So if you look at the list of sets or the list of numbers, you realize that it is only the d that qualifies to be what? Less than 5. Okay, okay, but if you look at the C2, the numbers they are also less than 5. But since we are saying that whole number start from 0, okay, whole number, we include what? 0. If you look at the C, there is no 0 there. So even though the numbers there are less than what? 5, but because there is no 0 in the C, we don't classify it as whole numbers less than 5. Okay, but we have what? 0 there. Okay, we have 0 there, because if you choose the C, then you are trying to say that the only whole numbers that are less than 5 are those numbers. What about the 0? Okay, so our answer is simply what? The D. Very simple. Okay, now let's look at the 17. We are also saying that Kofi is 2 years older than Amma. If Kofi is 11 years old now, how old is Amma? This one is also simple. If Kofi is 2 years older than Amma, and Kofi's age now is what? 11 years. So it means that how many years is Amma um, less than Kofi's age? Is Ama's age less than, or how many years is Ama younger than Kofi? Okay, so if Kofi is 11 years and we are saying that Kofi is 2 years older than then automatically it means that we only have to subtract the 2 years from Kofi's age. Okay, yes, so it means that Ama is 2 years younger than Kofi. Okay, so just 11 minus 2 and we get 9, and that is what? Our D. So all these things, that's why I said these things don't need serious calculation, just simple, and then you are good to go. Okay, now let's move on to the next one, which is the question 18. Okay, this is the question 18. Now in this question 18, we are saying that which of the following fractions is between? So this one we are looking at a fraction that is between this. Now for this particular concept, this can be solved in 3 different ways. Okay, so the first way which I'm going to use, we can use the average method when you are finding the average. Okay, yes, we can use the average method. Yes, so as I said, you can use what? The average. Okay, the average method. The average method, that is where you find the sum of individual what terms or individual values and divide by the number of values given. That is finding the mean of a data set. Okay, whatever the number of days. So this one we are given two different fractions. So we are only going to add the two fractions and divide by the number of days, which is what, 2. That is one method. We can also use the denominator method, where you make sure you get a common denominator for each of the then you multiply and get your answer. Then you find a fraction between the two. That one will also work. And the other method we can also use is by changing each of them to what? Decimals. Okay, you can change 2/3 to decimal, 3/4 to decimals. Okay, you write your answers down, you look at the interval, then the options given as well, you change each of them also to decimals, then you compare which of the decimals will fall within or between the two hot decimals. Then you choose from the option. That one is also there, but I'm going to use um the average method. So we know that average is given as what? Sigma x divided by n. The sigma x means what? The summation of what? The items. And what are the items? The items are the two fractions given. And what about the n? The n is the number of items given. So how many fractions are we given? We are given two fractions. That is the n. So you just sum them. Okay, you just sum them and then you are good to go. Okay, yes, very, very simple. Just add them and divide by the number. And if you add them, you follow, this is what simple what? Addition of fractions. Okay, so when you sum them, you are going to get this. You follow the principle. Okay, and then your final answer, you are going to get what? 17 on what? 24. So this is what we have gotten. This is the fraction which is between 2/3 and 3/4. But if you look at the options, you realize that we don't have the exact 17 on 24. So what do you do? Then what we will do is we divide, we find the decimal fraction for 17 on 24. Then we find the decimal fraction for each of the options. Then when we finish, we compare. Okay, the one that is equivalent to the decimal fraction for 17 on 24, we choose as our answer. Okay, so let's find the decimal. So if you find the decimal, you are getting 0.708333. So this is repeating. The 3 is what? Repeating. Then we find decimals for each of them. If you find decimal for 4/5, we are getting 0.8. Half is 0.5. 1/4 is 0.25, and then 5 on 7 is 0.714285, and it continues. It doesn't terminate. Okay, so now, so once we have this, then we can compare the options, their decimals, to the decimal for the average. Okay, so you realize that we can compare these two. Okay, when you compare these two, you realize that we are getting 0.7, 0.7, and the first one, if you 0.70, if you run up, you are going to get 0.71, which is equivalent to this. If that's the case, then we can conclude that our answer is the D. Okay, because that one is what? Equivalent to the average that we work. And this is one of the methods. This is one way we can do that. Okay, now let's look at the question 19. So for the question 19, we are saying that what is the largest numbers, okay, that can exactly divide 36 and 84, okay, without a remainder. So when you see questions like this, you know that we are talking about what? The HCF, highest common factors. HCF, highest common factor. So you are looking at a common factor of what? 36 and 86, the highest. Okay, the highest, because this question is asking for the largest. Okay, yes, it is asking for the largest. So that's it. Yes, so that is what we are looking for. We are looking for the number which is a factor of both 36 and 86. We will get a lot of them, but we are looking at the largest or the highest. So in that case, we are talking about what? The highest common factors, that is the HCF. Okay, or the greatest common factors. That is what we are talking about. Okay, if that's the case, then first you need to find factors of 36 and find factors of 86. Okay, so once you find those factors, then you compare. You'll be able to identify which of the factors is what? The largest. So these are factors of 36, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, and 36. What about factors of 84? We also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 12, 14, 21, 28, 42, 84. So if you look at these two factors, then you can compare. You realize that we have 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 6, 6. And we also have what? 12. After the 12, we don't have other numbers which are common to each of the set. So if you compare those that are common, you realize that it is 12, which is what? Bigger. Okay, that's the largest. So if that's the case, then we can conclude that our 12 is what? The HCF. Okay, HCF, that's the highest common factors, and that becomes what? Our answer. So 12 is the largest number that can exactly divide 36 and 84 without a remainder. Okay, so our answer is what? The C. You see that is very, very simple. Okay, now let's look at the last question of today's lesson. Okay, and that is the question 20. Okay, so for question 20, this is what we have. We are saying that what is the decimal fraction for the point mark D on the number line? So before you be able to know, you have to know the interval. In each interval, how many points or decimal points? Okay, so if we have 0 from the onset or initial point, we have 0, and if you move along, you get to what? 0.5. Then you can count the number of what? Calibrated what? Lines. So we can say that then if the initial point is 0, then when I move to the next one, if I count them, then I'm going to get 0.1. If I move to the next, I'm going to get 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and then 0.5. So if that is what we are saying, then you can boldly say that in every interval it is what? 0.1. 0.1 is 0.1 that we are adding 0.1. So every interval we add 0.1. If you move further, then we do this 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, then we get to 1. Okay, then we move on to 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, then we move on to the next, which is 1.4. But the D is between 1.3 and 1.4. So it means that within that range, the D is in the middle. Okay, so if we are saying that every interval it is 0.1, then it means that if I get to 1.3 and I want to get to the next, I will add 0.1 to it, and that gives me what? The 1.4. So in that interval, it is what? 0.1. And since where the D is also middle, it divides it into two equal parts. Then if I divide the 0.1 into 2, then I'm going to get what? 0.05. If I add 0.05 to 1.3, then you know what I'm going to get. So let's compare the two. Okay, if you compare the two, you realize that we need what is in the middle. And if you compare the options there, we have 1.45, 1.40, 1.35, 1.30. You realize that 1.30 is what we have as 1.3. Okay, then we move to 1.4. But what comes before 1.4? If you compare the options, they realize that it is only 1.35 that must come in the middle. If that's the case, then we can conclude that that will be what should come there. Then what will be your answer? Our answer is the C. Okay, yes, so that's it. All right, yes, so we are done. And if that's the case, then let's end here and continue next time. My name is Evans. This is Mazris TV. Kindly subscribe, like, and share the videos. See you next time. So in the next video, we are going to look at the last 10 questions, okay, of the 30 objectives. Okay, see you next time. Bye bye.